I've known for a very long time I'm a fusion between boy and girl. I'm just stressing about not being feminine enough.
Así en México somos muy machistas. No me dejes a mí ese paquete de decirles, oh, es que mi hijo es gay.
It'd be so much easier if I just accepted the identity that people saw me. Not having control over what your body is doing is really terrifying.
Good breath and then just speak.
My name.
Good.
I'm a trans woman now. Oh my God, it's almost gonna be a year. It's been 11 and a half months since I've started estrogen. I think I saw my body being more developed. Just last night, actually, I was like checking myself out. I'm like, oh, I did not notice that before. So after a year, there's like definitely some major shifts that have happened, but I know that like it might take 1 to 3 years for effects to fully come in. It's been a wild journey, and today I'm feeling hopeful, excited, and fresh. A year ago, when I started having these thoughts, I really thought that I would be doing this by myself. I don't know, as much as I love my family, I just assumed that this would be a little out of their reach. The amount of love that I've received from my mom's side of the family is like really overwhelming and not expected. One of the biggest things that I've noticed in me and my relationships is that I've started to value myself a lot more and really like bring my full self to the table. I don't know if it's one thing or another, but the fact of the matter is now when I enter a friendship, it's not just bits and pieces of me. Since I was a kid, I had these different parts of myself that had just been so separated and like pigeonholed. Since I've started doing therapy, transitioning, it really feels like I'm starting to pull myself back together and like really live in the present and be fully connected. And it's weird to like see your friends differently and see your loved ones differently in a way that's like more genuine. Like I see exactly for who we are. I think one of the most interesting things is that I'm still the same person that I was a year ago. I honestly think that it's that I've started healing so much that like my heart and my gifts and my spirituality has been like trickling back in this past 11 and a half months, almost a year. I've learned so much. One thing that I learned from, but I still wish that I had done differently, was maybe come to my dad dressed the way that I want to from the start. This is where I lived with my dad and my sister for a couple of months. In a little room. Hola, papi.
Hola, amigo.
Ya casi ha pasado un año que te dije que quería hacer un cambio muy grande. ¿Te acuerdas de cuando te dije?
Sí, sí, me acuerdo.
Me recordó mucho de la primera vez que te dije algo tan serio. Te dije que me identificaba como gay.
Sí.
Pero hace eso.
Yo te dije que a lo mejor estabas equivocado, a lo mejor tenías alguna duda, pero tú me afirmaste que no, que sí estabas seguro.
No sé, me acordé mucho porque es casi el mismo sentimiento. No sé por qué me dio tanto miedo.
¿Te acuerdas que te dije?
Dijiste que me amabas y que eras mi papá de cualquier manera. Y
exactamente. Que no porque tengas esa preferencia vas a dejar de ser mi hijo. Eres mi hijo o mi hija por siempre. No te digo que no me cayó de peso cuando tú me dijiste, porque pues mi orgullo, mi hombre, mi esto, mi aquello. Pero igual, o sea, eres un ser humano con todos los aciertos y defectos y todo lo que tengas. Desgraciadamente nosotros los mexicanos somos muy machistas y es un tabú hablar de esto. Gracias a Dios tuve estudios y puedo ver diferente las cosas. Y siempre te dije, te voy a apoyar donde estés, no importa cómo sea, no dejas de ser mi hijo o mi hija.
I actually had like a huge breakthrough with my therapist a couple of months ago. I had this obsession about becoming a cis woman. Like I was really preoccupied in getting my face done, stuffing a bra, having no hair, like all these little things, you know, that we consider to be feminine. What I ended up really working through was this idea that I can't and I won't ever become a cis woman because we don't have the same experiences. I think cis and trans inherently have to do with the history of somebody's life. I'm a trans being and there's absolutely no shame in that. Despite me wanting the safety to like fit inside of the box, what I realized was that there's two huge aspects that I really need to think about: my gender presentation and my gender identity. When I started, I was really like, I'm a woman, I don't care if I have XYZ, like this is what I'm going down. After just really checking in with myself and deconstructing a lot of like preconceptions, I'm realizing more so that my gender identity I will forever and always understand it as a fusion between masculine and feminine. And that's something I felt since I was a kid. And that's not gonna go away. It didn't have to be just a trans woman. Like there's so many different types of womanhood. For my gender presentation to be trans feminine or trans woman meant that when I walk down the street, I want people to either see me as a trans woman or a woman or a cis woman, like whatever. Like this, that's how I want to present myself to the world, and that's how I want other people to read me. That was a huge thing to accept because I thought you can only claim one, you know, and I thought that having one negated the other.
Me da gusto que al menos tengas definido tus pasos, que tengas en tu mente lo que quieres y persigas tus metas. Yo sé que cuando estaban chiquitos eran problemas chiquititos. Ahora que son grandes, son problemas más grandes. Pero igual, en esta vida todo tiene solución, menos la muerte.
Ya he tenido ya casi 12 meses tomando estrógeno. Como mi cuerpo está cambiando mucho. ¿Qué has notado? Te juro, cuando empecé, como a los primeros 6 meses, estaba diciendo que lo quería como esconder y quería...
Te noté tus vellos en los brazos, en tu piel, tus pechos. Te he notado, te he estado observando. Estás dando la transición. Sí, estás cambiando.
Pero todo natural.
Qué bueno, qué bueno.
I remember talking to my team and some other people and some friends about how overwhelmed I was in the first couple of weeks that I started estrogen, because I felt like my chest had like grown twice in size. I think it was mostly in my head, but the physiological changes happen really quickly. And so if anyone is going to consider doing this, I'd be prepared, you know? It's also, at the same time, not as fast as you think. Like, these are micro changes that are happening in your tissue, you know? And so, like, to track it obsessively is a little overwhelming, to say the least.
Yo pienso que va a ser un poco más difícil cuando mis amigos, los más cercanos...
Los que ya me conocen.
Sí, la familia, o sea, yo no sé si tú has hablado, yo te dije, habla con tus tías. No me dejes a mí ese paquete de decirles, oh, es que mi hijo es gay, o whatever. Darles a saber lo que tú sientes y lo que tú quieres. Porque sé que todos tienen ganas de preguntarme, pero ninguno se anima.
Times are definitely changing, which is exciting. But I mean, it's still unsafe for trans women to walk down the street. It's still unsafe for trans people to go on dates. It's still difficult for us to get medical services and survive. So I implore cis people and other people who don't identify as trans or non-binary that like they themselves even push the lines of gender. If a guy wants to wear earrings or wants to paint their nails, or if a girl wants to wear a suit and, I don't know, like have a short haircut, like I think that the more that the rest of the world starts mixing and playing, it'll make it safer for trans and non-binary folk to do the same.
La vida es muy pequeña, chiquitita, y nosotros la hacemos con muchas trabas y nos pasamos más tiempo mal que bien. Y no quiero eso. ¿Te imaginas si yo te pongo trabas desde que me dijiste? Tu vida hubiera sido un infierno, no estarías donde estás.
I'm getting like emotional about the end of this project because I didn't even consider transitioning until I met other trans Latinas. I was like, you get me. My story is in your life, and I'm really excited and hopeful to see all the kids who like see this along all the other stories and all the other beautiful narratives and experiences that have been shared, because we're really a community, and the more that you see yourself in us, we see ourselves in you. Representation is so important.
No dejes que intenten encontrar tu identidad. Dale tu identidad. O sea, era niño, pero ahora soy niña. Así de fácil. No es fácil.
Te amo.
Yo también te amo y tú sabes.
I really hope to keep creating space for other trans, non-binary folks. I really want to help people dive deeper into their own understanding and hopefully heal, and also stay connected and engaged with what's happening in the world around them. Because something that happened to me early in my transition was that I locked myself up, didn't interact, and I didn't ask for help, and I forgot that there's so many people that exist outside of myself. My name is Andrea Mares, and I identify as a gender-neutral, trans, feminine Chicana.